everyone. Welcome back to another episode of English with Leo and Stella podcast. I'm your host, Leo.
And I'm Stella, your friendly co-host. We're so happy to have you here with us today. Whether you're listening at home, walking outside, or just relaxing with a cup of tea, we're excited that you're spending this time with us.
Absolutely. And today's episode is all about something that many English learners find really difficult. Maybe you've felt this before. You're watching a movie or listening to a native English speaker talk, and suddenly you understand nothing. It sounds fast, it sounds confusing, and it's like all the words are mixed together. Has that ever happened to you?
Oh yes, that's very common. Many learners say, I can read English, I understand grammar, but when someone speaks fast, I just get lost. And guess what? That's totally normal. You're not alone, and you're not bad at English. It's just a skill that takes time and the right kind of practice.
That's right. So, in this episode, we're going to talk about how to understand fast-spoken English. We'll explain why it's difficult, what happens when native speakers talk quickly, and, most importantly, how you can improve your listening step by step. Our goal is to help you feel more confident when you hear fast English, like in movies, real conversations, or even in other podcasts.
And don't worry, we'll speak slowly and clearly so you can follow everything. This episode is made for English learners just like you. Beginners, intermediate learners, even advanced ones who want to improve their listening and speaking. You're all welcome here.
We also want to say this. If you want to improve your English, one of the best things you can do is listen often. And podcasts like this are a great way to practice. You don't need a classroom. You just need your ears, your mind, and your time.
So get comfortable, grab a notebook if you want to take notes, or just listen and enjoy. We're going to help you understand how fast English works, and more than that, we're going to help you feel like you really can do this.
Let's get started on this journey together. Ready to learn how to understand fast-spoken English? Let's dive in. All right, so now let's talk about the big question. Why is fast English so hard to understand? I mean, a lot of learners think, I studied vocabulary, I know the grammar rules, I can read English, but when I listen to native speakers talk, it's like a completely different language. That feeling is really common, and there's actually a reason for that.
Yes, and one big reason is something called connected speech. Now that sounds a bit technical, but let's make it simple. Connected speech just means that in real life, people don't speak word by word. They don't say, I am going to eat now. Instead, they connect the words together and say something like, I'm going to eat now.
Exactly. So when native speakers talk, going to becomes gonna. Want to becomes wanna. Got to becomes gotta. These changes happen naturally, and they're totally normal in everyday English. But for learners, it can be confusing because they didn't see it in the textbook.
Right. In class, you learn proper grammar and full sentences. But in real life, we cut and blend words. It's just how people speak when they're relaxed or talking fast. And that's why sometimes learners think native speakers are speaking too fast. But actually, it's not just speed. It's the way the words change and connect together.
That brings us to the next point. Yes, native speakers do speak quickly. But here's the thing. They're not trying to be difficult. It's just how they naturally talk. When we speak our own language, we usually speak fast, too, without realizing it. And in English, fast speech often means we don't pronounce every single sound clearly. So instead of, did you eat yet, you might hear, jeet yet?
And if you're not used to that, it sounds like a whole new word. But don't worry. With time and listening practice, you'll start to notice these patterns. It's just like learning to hear music in a new style. At first, it sounds confusing, but later, you can recognize the rhythm and melody.
Another reason fast English is tricky is accents. English is spoken in many countries: the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, South Africa, and more. And even in the same country, people can have very different ways of speaking. For example, someone from London might sound very different from someone in New York or Sydney.
Yes, some accents are slower and clearer, and others are faster or have different pronunciation. That can make listening even more challenging. But here's the good news. The more you listen to different accents, the better your ears become at understanding them. It's like exercise for your brain.
Totally. And here's one more reason fast English is tough. Native speakers often drop words or use informal phrases. For example, instead of saying, "I have to go to the store," someone might just say, "Gotta go store." It's not perfect grammar, but it's common in casual conversation. And if you're only used to textbook English, you might be thinking, "Wait, where's the subject? Where's the full sentence?"
Yes, that's a big one. People often leave out little words like I or am or is. They might say, "You okay?" instead of "Are you okay?" or "Wanna hang out?" instead of "Do you want to hang out?" These short forms are everywhere in fast, natural English.
And again, it's not wrong or lazy. It's just how people talk when they're relaxed, especially in informal settings with friends or family. So, when you hear these short, quick sentences, just remember, they are real English, and you can learn to understand them with practice.
So, to quickly review, fast English is hard to understand because of connected speech, fast talking, different accents, and the use of short, informal expressions. But now that you know what's happening, you're already one step ahead.
Exactly. Understanding fast English isn't magic, it's a skill. And the more you train your ears, the more you'll start to hear the words, even when they're said quickly or in a different accent.
Stick with us, and we'll show you how. In the next part, we'll talk about the specific features of fast spoken English and how to spot them. So don't go anywhere.
All right, now that we know why fast-spoken English is hard to understand, let's talk about some common features you will hear when people speak quickly. These features can help you recognize the sounds and words better. The first one is contractions. Have you heard of contractions, Stella?
Of course. Contractions are words that combine two words into one shorter word. For example, instead of saying I will, people usually say I'll. Instead of do not, they say don't. Contractions make speech faster and easier.
Right. And contractions are everywhere in spoken English. Think about she is becoming she's, or they are turning into their. When native speakers talk, they almost always use contractions because it sounds more natural and smooth.
Exactly. And if you only learn the full forms in textbooks, it might be hard to catch these shorter forms in real conversations. But don't worry, the more you listen, the easier it gets to recognize I'll, don't, there, and all the others.
The second important feature is called linking sounds. This is when the last sound of one word connects to the first sound of the next word. It's like the words are glued together. For example, in the phrase pick it up, instead of hearing three separate words, you might hear pick it up, where the sounds link smoothly.
Oh, yes, linking helps English sound natural and fast. Another example is go on. Instead of saying go and then on, with a clear pause, native speakers link the words so it sounds like go one or guan. Sometimes the W sound connects the two words.
And this linking can make it tricky for learners because the words don't sound separate like in slow or clear speech. But if you practice listening for linking sounds, you can start to hear how the words connect, and it becomes easier to understand the meaning.
The third feature is reductions. These are words or sounds that get smaller or softer when spoken fast. For example, want to often becomes wanna. So instead of do you want to go, you hear do you want to go?
Yes! Other examples are got to becoming gotta, and going to turning into gonna. These reductions make speaking quicker and more relaxed. It's very common in everyday English, especially in conversations with friends or family.
And reductions can make it seem like the words are very different from what you learned, but they are the same words, just spoken in a quicker, easier way.
Exactly. Another example is give me becoming gimme. So, give me that book sounds like gimme that book. It might sound strange at first, but this is natural English.
The last feature we want to talk about is intonation and rhythm. Intonation is the rise and fall of your voice when you speak. Rhythm is the pattern of strong and weak sounds in a sentence. Both of these make English sound musical and natural.
That's right. When native speakers talk fast, they don't just say words flatly. They change their voice to show meaning, feelings, or questions. For example, when asking a question, your voice usually rises at the end. Are you coming? But in a statement, it falls, I am coming.
And rhythm is about stress. In English, some words or parts of words are stronger, louder, or longer than others. This helps listeners understand which words are important. For example, in the sentence, I want to buy a new car, the stressed words might be want, buy, and car.
This rhythm helps listeners catch the key information even if the sentence is spoken quickly. So, listening for stress and intonation can really help you understand fast English better.
So to sum up, fast spoken English has contractions to make words shorter, linking sounds that connect words, reductions where words get smaller or softer, and a musical intonation and rhythm that shows meaning. When you learn to listen for these, understanding fast speech becomes much easier.
Yes, it takes time, but with practice, your ears will learn these patterns, and fast English will start to sound natural and clear to you. Don't worry if you don't get it all right away. Keep listening and practicing.
And remember, in our next section, we'll share some practical tips on how you can practice understanding fast English every day. So stay tuned.
Okay, Stella, so we've talked about why fast English is hard and what makes it sound the way it does. Now, the big question, how can learners actually practice to understand it better? What do you think is the best way to start?
Great question, Leo. The first thing I always tell learners is to listen to real conversations or podcasts in English. It's so important to hear how people actually speak, not just how textbooks say they should speak. Podcasts, TV shows, movies, even YouTube videos are all great sources.
Yes, and the more you listen to real speech, the more your brain gets used to the sounds, the speed, and the patterns we talked about earlier. Contractions, linking, reductions, rhythm. Your ears start to recognize these things naturally. It's like training your ear muscles.
That's right. But sometimes just listening isn't enough. You might hear a fast conversation and feel lost. This is why I recommend learners use subtitles or transcripts if possible. Subtitles are the words on the screen that show what's being said, and transcripts are written versions of the conversation.
Using subtitles is really helpful because you can listen and read at the same time. You hear the words and you see them spelled out. This helps you connect the sounds to the letters and meanings. After you listen once or twice with subtitles, try listening again without them to test yourself.
Using subtitles is really helpful because you can listen and read at the same time. You hear the words and you see them spelled out. This helps you connect the sounds to the letters and meanings. After you listen once or twice with subtitles, try listening again without them to test yourself.
Now, here's another very useful technique called repeating and shadowing. Have you heard about shadowing, Stella?
Yes, shadowing is when you listen to a sentence or phrase and then immediately try to say it out loud, copying the speaker's rhythm intonation, and pronunciation as closely as possible. It's like you're their shadow, speaking right behind them.
Exactly. Repeating after the speaker helps you practice not just listening, but speaking too. It trains your mouth to move quickly and naturally with English sounds. It's a very effective way to get used to fast speech.
And even if you can't say everything perfectly at first, it's okay. The important thing is to try, to practice regularly, and to listen carefully. Over time, your speaking will become smoother, and your listening will improve too.
Another great tip is to slow down the speed of the audio when you listen. Many podcast apps, YouTube, or audio players have a feature where you can slow the speech to 0.75 or even zero point 0.5 times the normal speed. This makes it easier to hear every word clearly.
Yes, slowing down is especially helpful when you're just starting or when the conversation is very fast. But try not to stay at slow speed all the time. Gradually increase the speed as you get better, so your ears can adjust to the real pace of native speakers.
And finally, the most important tip is to practice little by little every day. It doesn't matter if you only listen or practice for 10 or 15 minutes daily. The key is consistency. Small, daily practice adds up to big improvement over time.
Absolutely. Consistency beats long, occasional study sessions. When you practice a little every day, your brain keeps building connections, and listening to fast English becomes easier naturally.
So to summarize, practice by listening to real conversations or podcasts, use subtitles or transcripts, repeat and shadow the speaker, slow down the audio if needed, and most importantly, practice regularly every day. These steps will really help you understand fast-spoken English better.
And remember, it's okay if you don't understand everything right away. Learning a language is a journey. Be patient with yourself and enjoy the process.
That's right, Stella. Keep practicing and you'll see progress sooner than you think. Up next, we'll share some fun and creative ways to practice your listening and speaking skills. So, stay with us.
All right, Stella, we've shared how to practice understanding fast English. Now let's talk about some useful tips to help our listeners improve both their listening and speaking skills. Because, listening and speaking go hand in hand. What's the first tip you want to share?
Well, Leo, the first and most important tip is to choose easy and interesting content. When you're practicing, don't start with something too difficult or boring. If the topic doesn't interest you, it will be harder to focus and enjoy the learning. Yes, that makes sense. If you like sports, watch or listen to English sports podcasts or videos. If you like cooking, find cooking shows or recipe videos in English. When you enjoy what you're listening to, you want to keep coming back, and that's how learning really happens.
Exactly. And if the content is easy enough for you, you won't feel frustrated or confused all the time. This helps you stay motivated and practice more often. So find something that matches your level and your interests.
The second tip is to listen many times. Don't expect to understand everything the first time you listen. Even native speakers sometimes listen to a song or watch a movie again because they want to catch details they missed before.
Yes, repeated listening is powerful. The first time, you might catch only a few words or the general idea. The second or third time, you start to hear more words, phrases, and understand more of the meaning. So listen again and again until you feel more confident.
And this leads to the third tip. Repeat phrases out loud. When you hear a phrase or sentence you like or find useful, say it out loud. This helps you practice pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation.
Right, Leo. It's like practicing a small conversation or dialogue. Speaking out loud also trains your mouth and tongue to move like a native speaker's. Don't be shy to make mistakes. The more you practice, the better you get.
That's a great point, Stella. And here's the fourth tip. Record yourself. This might sound a little scary at first, but recording your voice can be a huge help.
Definitely. When you listen to your own recordings, you can hear how you sound, what words are clear, and what needs improvement. It's like having your own teacher who helps you notice the small mistakes you might not hear while speaking.
And over time, if you record yourself regularly, you can listen back and see your progress. It's really motivating to hear how much better you sound compared to a few weeks or months ago.
Absolutely. And the last tip is to speak with others as much as possible. Practice conversations with language partners, friends who speak English, teachers, or even online language exchange communities.
Yes, speaking with real people helps you practice in a real, natural way. You get used to different voices, questions, and topics. Plus, it's fun, and you learn from your mistakes in a friendly environment.
And don't worry if you make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes when learning a new language. The important thing is to keep trying and talking. The more you speak, the faster you improve your listening and speaking skills.
So, to summarize, pick easy and interesting content to stay motivated, listen many times to catch more details, repeat phrases out loud to practice speaking, record yourself to check your progress, and speak with others to get real conversation practice.
If you follow these tips regularly, your English listening and speaking skills will get stronger and stronger. Remember, practice makes progress.
Exactly. And next, we'll share some fun ideas to make practicing even more enjoyable. So stay tuned. All right, Stella, now that we've talked about serious tips for practicing fast English, how about we share some fun ways to practice? Because learning should be enjoyable too, right?
Absolutely, Leo. When learning is fun, you're more motivated and you stick with it longer. So, one of the best fun ways to practice is to watch movies or series in English. Do you like watching movies, Leo?
I love it. Movies and series are great because they show how people speak naturally, with all those contractions, linking sounds, and different accents we talked about before. Plus, you get to see the emotions and body language, which helps you understand better.
Yes, and you can start by choosing movies or series with English subtitles. That way, you read and listen at the same time. You can watch a scene once with subtitles, then try watching it again without them to test yourself.
Also, pick movies or shows that match your level and interests. If you like comedy, watch comedies. If you prefer adventure or drama, choose those. When you enjoy what you're watching, it doesn't feel like studying. It feels like entertainment.
Another fun way to practice is by using English music. Songs are amazing because they help you with rhythm, intonation, and vocabulary. You can listen to your favorite English songs, try to catch the words, and even sing along.
Yes, singing along helps your mouth and tongue get used to the sounds and flow of English. Plus, songs repeat the same phrases often, so it's easier to remember new words.
And don't worry if you don't understand every word in a song at first. Look up the lyrics online, read them while listening, and then sing along. It's a super fun way to improve your listening and speaking skills.
Here's another fun idea. Imitate actors or YouTubers. This means you listen carefully to how they speak, and then try to copy their voice, pronunciation, and even their expressions.
Exactly. Choose short clips or videos, and try to repeat what they say exactly how they say it. This helps you practice your pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm, and makes your speaking sound more natural.
It's like acting. You get to play a role and practice speaking English at the same time. It's a fun challenge and helps build your confidence too.
And the last fun idea we want to share today is to play listening games. There are many games and apps where you listen to English and answer questions, fill in missing words, or match sounds with pictures.
Yes, games make learning interactive and exciting. Instead of just listening passively, you're actively thinking and responding, which helps your brain remember better.
Some popular listening games include quizzes, word puzzles, or even online conversation simulators. You can find many free games online or on your phone.
So to wrap up, fun practice ideas include watching movies or series with subtitles, listening to and singing English songs, imitating actors or YouTubers, and playing listening games. These activities make learning English enjoyable and keep you motivated.
Exactly. When you enjoy your practice, you'll naturally want to do more and improve faster. So find what you like and make your English learning journey fun and exciting.
Well, Stella, here we are at the end of our episode about understanding fast-spoken English. Before we say goodbye, I think it's really important to remind our listeners of something very important. Learning a language, especially listening to fast English, takes time. It's not something that happens overnight.
That's so true, Leo. Sometimes learners feel frustrated because they don't understand everything immediately, or they don't speak as quickly as native speakers. But that's completely normal. Every single person who learns a new language goes through this phase. It's part of the journey.
Absolutely. The key is to be patient and kind to yourself. Remember, progress is like climbing a mountain. You don't reach the top in one big step, but with many small steps. Every bit of practice you do brings you closer to your goal.
And I want to share a short success story that I think will inspire our listeners. I once knew a learner who couldn't understand fast English at all. At first, they would feel overwhelmed and give up sometimes, but they kept practicing a little every day, listening to podcasts, repeating phrases, watching movies with subtitles. After 6 months, they started to understand much more, even fast conversations on the phone.
That's a perfect example. Success doesn't come from magic. It comes from steady, consistent effort. And even if progress feels slow, it's still progress. Every time you listen, repeat, or speak, you're building your skills.
I also want to remind everyone to stay confident. Confidence is a big part of language learning. When you believe you can do it, your brain works better and your speaking becomes more natural. Don't worry about mistakes. Mistakes are proof that you are trying, and trying is how you learn.
Yes, so many learners hold back because they're afraid of making mistakes. But the truth is, mistakes are your friends. They help you improve and become a better speaker. So speak up, listen actively, and keep practicing with confidence.
Before we finish, here's a quote I really like, and I think it fits perfectly. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Every time you listen to this podcast, every time you practice, that's a step forward.
I love that quote. So, to all our listeners, keep taking those steps, keep practicing, and remember, you are making progress every day, even if it doesn't always feel like it.
Thank you so much for listening with us today. We hope you found these tips and ideas helpful and encouraging. Remember, learning fast-spoken English is a challenge, but it's also an exciting adventure.
Exactly, Stella. Stay curious, stay motivated, and most of all, enjoy the journey. We believe in you, and we're here to support you every step of the way.
That's right. Until next time, keep practicing, keep smiling, and keep speaking English with confidence.
Goodbye, everyone, and have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye. Take care and see you soon.